Thank you, Doros. Thanks for the introduction and for inviting me here. I'm really excited, actually. I've never presented my work like that, so this is very exciting for me. I think I'll share my screen first, and I hope that this will work. I hope you can see the presentation, or can I? Yeah. So today I would like to talk a little bit about some of my work that I've done during last few years when I was living in a very special place. And this work is oriented mainly on the landscape. That was a major part of what I could see. I'm not a fan of technicalities, but I think that I'll mention a little bit also things on the process of how the pictures or images were made. And I'm actually not a professional photographer, but I really like that. And so I'd like to start with this a little special place up here in the Arctic, where I got my PhD, and I lived there for 4 years. Between 2016 and actually January this year. And so I did my PhD in microbiology. I've just finished that, but a substantial amount of my time was spent on actually photography and thinking about pictures, making pictures, and experimenting. Well, during the first year, I haven't actually done very much, and just to show you some of the, I would say, usual images from Svalbard or Spitsbergen. These are basically pictures that were taken during the summer, and I was really going through many pictures like that on the Instagram and other social media. And at some point, I was really sort of bored with that, and I thought that these pictures are actually only scratching the surface. And I don't see that place as such. I think that I thought then that some things are being overlooked at these pictures, and that maybe I can use some of the stuff that I have, I don't know, in my kitchen or somewhere in my apartment to actually make the images up there. So I started actually. And I will start with talking about one of the, I guess, projects. I'm a bit confused by the word project, but I've done quite a lot of pictures, and one part of that was a project called Nights of the Sun. So once I went back to my office at the university, and this is actually my the best office mate and office friend that you can imagine, Anya Eismont. And the first project we've done that actually together. We thought, what is actually so special for that place that we could use and present to other people? And we came up with this idea of using tomato cans as pinholes. And we used photographic paper that we put inside of those boxes to take some pictures. And this project actually took us 3 years, countless boxes or tomato cans. And we produced images of especially the sun that is, during polar day, it is about 4 months above the horizon, and in the polar night, it is actually below the horizon for the same amount of time. So we produced very many images from these boxes, and we attached these boxes during these 3 years to very different objects. And what you can see here, these lines, these are continuous lines sort of painted by the sun that was moving every day. there is a lot of constructions from the mining, because that was a very important industry up there. So many of these constructions are showing some of the old mining architecture. I think that this is one of the longest exposures of these boxes that we had, and this was 6 months. So there are very many lines that actually melted like together, I could say. And the times where you can't see like the bright line of the sun, it means that it was cloudy. And we made very many pictures like that throughout these 3 years. And we were amazed every time that when we went to collect our boxes after some time, then we took out the paper from these tomato cans, we scanned them, we inverted the colors because it appeared as a negative, and then we also played a little bit with colors. So here you can see some of the images that we've produced by these box method. This is kind of a special picture or special box because when we left it to be exposed, it was close to the lake. But when we took it out, it turned out that the water from the lake covered the whole box, so it was wet, and we scanned it as a wet paper, so you can see still some sand and loads of rust on the image. And I think that's the last image from that project. Thanks to a local gallery in Svalbard, we exhibited our work. We showed, of course, many more images like that, but some of them we managed to arrange in this wave, like here. Although we didn't crop these images in a special way, it was we discovered that by accident. But this was kind of a special project where we wanted to show something that is different about Svalbard, this never-ending sun during polar day. And we also wanted to show that you don't need the best possible camera in the market to take some interesting images. Now I would like to skip this, to change a little bit the topic to something else that I was working on for quite some time. And I still think I haven't really finished that because I was studying, during my PhD, I was also studying the response of microbes to changing climate. And this is actually very true for that place, that Arctic is warming at the fastest pace. And when you Google the images from the Arctic, it is usually about pristine ice and white landscapes. But living in Longyearbyen, I mean, the surroundings were very affected by mining and by human activity. So that made me think on who is actually, how the landscape is actually affected by people, which is very visible. And then also there were actually no indigenous people in Svalbard, and people are sort of like a disposable element in this landscape because they come and go. I don't remember, but on average, I think it's like 4, maybe 5 years that people stay on the island. Of course, some people stay longer. Some people come just for like 6 months or something like this. But people actually sort of like are in transit in a way somehow. And although they are moving so fast, they do have quite profound impact on the landscape itself. That's why I did this project, and I wanted to show, maybe in a slightly dreamy way, these traces of people, like this ice that is breaking here, for example, or people who are coming there to, as scientists, for example, to describe the landscape or things that they see. And there's actually quite a lot of sort of activity with those radars. So scientists are coming to do some research on geophysics and stuff like that. And there are places where the landscape is quite it's quite affected in a visible way, and the mining, I think, is one of the major industry that affected the landscape, at least close to the place I used to live. There are many things laying around, and some of them are actually considered as cultural heritage if they have been placed before. No, I don't remember. I think it was 1945 or something like that. So yeah, people leave the traces all over, and the mining is really maybe not that much anymore, but was really pronounced for quite a long time. And as I said, I mean, what I remember from the landscape around the city is different objects that were appearing and then disappearing because somebody needed that for, I don't know, some sort of industrial purpose, and then it was removed. Yeah, I will finish this project with a road that was, of course, built. There are around 50 kilometers of road in Svalbard, and this is one of the pictures from Polar Night, which is quite demanding for a photographer to actually take some pictures, because it can be really dark. And then, as I was working on my pictures, there was one polar night that I started to think about manipulating those images that I've taken, and to sort of put them together or to juxtapose it and create some sort of fake landscape that has never happened. And I don't think I will ever finish this project, but it was a really nice way to, I don't know, maybe train my imagination, or just to play with the images that I have taken. It is, of course, much easier to do this kind of image alterations in Photoshop than in the darkroom, but I've tried both. Yes. So these are all sort of fake landscape inspired by the actual landscape up there. And I have many more images, but I don't think I have that much time to show you all of that. Another thing that was really inspired me after quite some time of living up there was connected to the book that you can see here, and I don't think it was translated to English or Greek, actually, and that's a book that it's like a long essay on the use of negatives as images during during the whole history of photography. And that inspired me a lot, because it turned out that very many photographers used the negative image as an image in their projects, for example. And that made me think about me taking mostly black and white pictures, and two sort of different conditions that people are exposed every year, like polar day, so this constant light, and then polar night, which is actually a long period of darkness. And then when I was looking through the negatives that I've taken, I was also thinking that some of the images that I took could be presented as negatives, and then they will, and then it's sometimes hard to say if they were taken during polar night, or maybe was that during early spring, where there is still some snow instead of coal, dirt, or soil. So I'll present you some of the pictures, and some of them are actually are negatives, and some are presented as positives here. And this work was also inspired by the seasons changing so fast that sometimes you don't even know if it's, I mean, especially looking at the pictures, if there was snow, or was it soil or coal placed somewhere here. And I think that this is a really nice example, because it is very possible to take the same picture during the summer, and then the whole place would be actually black, because it is very close to the mine. And the same picture taken during the spring, when there is a lot of snow, would appear exactly like that. And this is just a negative. So I took quite a lot of these kind of pictures. For example, this is also a really nice example, because this place can actually look the same as a negative during the winter, and as a positive during the summer. This is a river delta of kind of a big valley close to another former mining town. And this landscape is also quite interesting, and it was interesting for the whole time I was there, because there are no trees. So it is very difficult to say how far things are from you. There is no like reference point. And that was adding more of sort of, I don't know, feelings of the magnitude of the place or the nature. So yeah, I was playing with all of those pictures in very many different ways. And I think that this is the last pictures I have in this presentation. But I would like to also just mention that for the whole time when I was taking these pictures, I was experimenting with some sort of techniques, or also using computer. I was trying to create something different that was created before. And as I said in the beginning, I really looked for ways of taking pictures with something that is already around me. So first of all, these were the tomato cans that we've used together with Anya in the first project that I've shown today. And then I used instant coffee to develop all of my black and white films, and that's also maybe why they look as they do. They are maybe a little bit rough because of that. They're not that precise as from an ordinary developing process. Yes, and I think that's the end of my presentation. But I haven't really finished my work here. Now I'm trying to learn new things in a mentorship program in Warsaw. There's a collective of photographers called Sputnik Photos, and so I'm enrolled now in a 1-year mentorship program where I can actually learn from some of the best photographers in this country, and this is very exciting. So I'm working on a very different project right now that is not really connected to the landscape, to the physical landscape. I'm trying to visually describe access to information and any restrictions to these access, including censorship. So that's kind of a big topic, and I'm overwhelmed with that now. But I'll try to do my best to present that issue with the pictures. And I think that's that. And if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to try to answer.